Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Bear?
I'm good, man. Thank you for being here and giving us some of your time for
Hold on,
a, f-
let me,
a, a Friday
let me,
night chat. Uh, it's been quite a week. Um, let's you and I start talking first, and then I'll get into the news and stuff from today. After that, from from my perspective, Chris, what happened on Saturday of last week looked like the local police did a great job of parking people and directing traffic. And then from that point on, it was pretty much FUBAR. Um,
yeah, right, right. Like I said, they're really not accustomed to even doing a POTUS, right, and actually securing um, an event or even certain structures, even at the especially at that level. Okay, so you deal with local law enforcement, and like in Butler County, Pennsylvania. They they really don't even know how to do that stuff. That's what we call podunk PD. Okay.
and they
So
shouldn't be expected to know how to do that. They were put in a tough situation.
right. So I mean, like for us in DC, we know how to do it, right? Because we deal with that stuff on a daily basis, not just with president, vice president, but just with other dignitaries, that come to DC. So we deal with that on a daily basis, right? As opposed to
Yes.
um, this, the sheriff's department, whoever else, the state police, they don't do that stuff on a regular basis. So they
Let alone the local Butler
right.
Town
So
Police
they're at
Department.
a severe disadvantage when it comes to something like this. So I mean, in all fairness, I mean, I think Secret Service should have been like, hey, okay, look, this is their advanced team, their advon should have been talking to the local police and actually kind of showing them how to do X, Y, and Z, so there isn't you don't have that problem. Okay, so I mean that's just my take on it. From like I said, from us doing it in the Metropolitan Police Department, Washington D.C. on a daily basis. Like I said, we have foreign dignitaries coming in. You know,
Tons of motorcades. There's
right,
motorcades
right, and then you
constantly in
have
DC.
foreign heads of state coming to D.C. and like Secret Service will protect them, um, and we'll be in the motorcades, you know, with Secret Service, and then if they go somewhere, we'll be there with them, in a supporting role. But the bottom line is because we did it on a daily basis, we know what to do. Okay.
And talk about that. What um what did you do? What did you do? What did the social or the Secret Service? What did you do and what did they do
Okay. So
during a motorcade?
Metropolitan Police Department, Washington D.C. actually leads the motorcade on the president and vice president of the United States. And of course, we're also in the motorcade with the motorcycle cops. But then also that's that's kind of the supporting role, but us leading it. So in case something happens to the president, MPD's taking the president to wherever they leading the motorcade on wherever the president needs to go. Okay, within the District of Columbia. But then, like,
The nearest, if something happens to the president, the Metropolitan Police are responsible for getting him to the
we
nearest
would
trauma
lead them.
center,
I mean, we
correct?
would lead to
You
to
okay,
that
alright, go
that
ahead.
like to George Washington Hospital, right? If that's where they just if that's where the point, or wherever they want to go, for medical um, assistance. A lot of times it's George
Mhm.
Washington. I mean, it could be MedStar. It could be anywhere, wherever they designate it, right? So, but the other thing is when we're doing support of the presidential motorcade, our function is really to cut and pull traffic at all the intersections. So
What does that
okay,
mean
when
in layman's terms? Cut
so
cut
just
and pull
block the
traffic.
intersections, so that way no traffic can get through to the motorcade, which we call a breach, okay, of that um, location where you're at. So, like when I was on a POTUS, like I go into my district, go to roll call, and they'd be like, "All right, Martin, you're on POTUS. Go down to SOD." I go down to SOD. They brief us, and then you get your assignment, and you get to the assignment, and you get to your assignment, and there's like a motorman that's already checking the route. You know what I'm saying? But you'll hear it. You'll hear them on the air. All right, all units cut and pull traffic. All right. So we cut and pull traffic. That means from that point on, no vehicles can get on the route of which the motorcade is coming at all. Right. And with that, that means like any vehicle is coming up to approach, and we tell you turn your vehicle off. You got to turn that vehicle off because we don't want any breaches, right? And I've had happen plenty of times before where I've told someone, hey, you know, um, turn your vehicle off. Maybe like, "Oh, I want to turn my vehicle off, and guess what I do? I go inside the vehicle, with the window down, and take their
And
keys,
turn their
and
vehicle
I turn the
off.
vehicle off and take their keys, right?
And you're doing them a favor because if they did something
Right. So
stupid, either intentionally or unintentionally, the
right. So
consequences would be
what
very
you don't
bad.
want to happen is a breach because that's when the um, counter assault team. It could because we're all in the same freak, right? We're all in the same freak.
Mhm.
If I mean, they're going to hear it. Hey, there's a breach at such and such a location, and they'll come down, right? And some of the weapon systems they have in the back of those SUVs, like bro, you don't even want to mess with, right? So the whole thing about it is the presidential motorcade doesn't stop. It's not supposed to stop for anything. So if you breach that, then you get what you get, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So if the cat comes out and say there's a breach of such a location, and the cat comes out, well, you got a problem because that, like I said, that motorcade doesn't stop for anything.
Okay. Um, what and what you're telling us is in Washington D.C., this security is applied all the time, and it is SOP, standard operating procedure. Uh, and that's why we don't see things happen
Right,
in DC.
right, and and
We don't
and
s
the like I said, because we do it so much. Well, they do it so much in DC. They're like they're really really good at it. You know, they're really good at it, as opposed to
Yeah,
like this weekend or past weekend or last Saturday. That's a police department that's probably never even handled anything like that before ever. So they really don't know what to do. They really don't.
right. And that just added to the
Right.
foobar of the
It's just
day.
inexperience. You know, from those smaller agencies that they just lack the experience and the knowledge on how to handle something like that because they don't do it.
How much of it, Chris, could be just complacency from the Secret Service, not anticipating anything ever happening because it's been so long since something happened?
I'm not so sure it's complacency. on the part of secret. It could be, but we have a saying in law enforcement and even in special operations, just military in general, that complacency, that'll get you killed. And complacency will get you killed.
Yeah.
So you don't ever want to be complacent, especially uh, especially with Trump or just any president and the former president in general, because those guys get threats all the time, right? And because they get threats all the time, you have to be on your P's and Q's when protecting, these former presidents and of course the current president, right?
Yeah, you take one of those people out, and it
Yeah,
has far-reaching
right,
and
right. I mean,
long-lasting consequences.
you have to remember, it's not just about the United States, okay? It's about what
Right,
everyone else sees around the world as well, okay? So, you got Russia,
right.
China, and all the rest of these countries looking at it like, wow, what a bunch of ass clowns. They can't even protect they can't even protect, uh, themselves.
I've got a story coming up when when we get there. I've got a story of what the rest of the world
Right.
is talking about us. I got the yeah. Um, okay, so talk a little bit about because you've been talking with a lot of people and you knew a lot already and you've learned some things. Talk about um, the fact that the Secret Service is an organization of limited resources as far as personnel and the levels of being in the Secret Service. There's a difference between a Secret Service officer and a Secret
Right, right.
Service
So I don't know
agent.
if you remember, I told you about like what the uniform division is primarily responsible for. So you'll see them, e- especially in DC, and you'll see them in front of the embassies. Like there's Embassy Row, right? And you'll see them
Hmm.
protecting those embassies. But then also, in front of the White House, you'll see them in front of the.
And when you say in uniform, is it like are they? Do they have like the
They'll have
blue
not that, they
jacket?
have like black
Uh,
pants and a white shirt, you know, um,
okay,
and like sometimes they'll have a tactical vest over it, says Secret Service, stuff like that, and but and their whole
okay,
main function is to make sure that no one like penetrates, the embassies or the White House grounds, stuff like that, right? But the
right.
agents they're different, right? Those are special agents.
They're
Right,
they're the
but I
body
mean, they
protectors.
also do
They're
investigations though, right? So like the whole counterfeiting thing, they do that. I
mhm.
don't know what else they do, but the primary thing I think was counterfeiting.
Yeah, they're in the
Right, right.
Department of the Treasury,
So
and
but
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
so they're what we call 1811s. Those are criminal investigators. Okay, as where the Secret Service uniform division
Okay,
are not. They're more or less police officers. Okay, so there's a difference in pay, and one's an investigator, one's not. So and the whole function of the 1811s, the criminal investigators, because they are Secret Service agents, and that's the primary function of the Secret Service is the protection of the President of the United States, Vice President, and also foreign dignitaries when they come to the United States.
okay. So, um, uh, are they all
Um,
trained equally? Do agents have
oh,
more
for
training than officers?
they sure do. When it comes to protecting, um, like I said, the president, the vice president, um, also like I said, foreign dignitaries when they come to the United States. That's their primary mission of what agents do. Now, there are uniform division people that sometimes travel with, might be on a presidential detail, right? If they're going overseas, and like I said, it's a matter of personnel, resources. So, from my understanding, sometimes those uniformed officers will actually go out with that detail. So,
Okay. Do okay, does Donald Trump have the same personal security Secret Service personal security detail? Does he have that's the same detail that he had when he was in the White House, or are there
see,
new
and that
agents
that's
coming
what I
and
don't know
going?
because sometimes what if the president doesn't like you as an agent, right? And they turn around and say, "Well, I don't
Yeah,
want you." So you can call a director of Secret Service, say, "Hey, I don't want this dude," and then be like, "Okay, no problem, good, you're out." Boom, and then replace them with someone else.
okay.
But as far that that's a question that you would actually have to ask, well, like a Secret Service agent, because I really don't know that, you know, the answer to that question.
Alright. You mentioned the director of the Secret Service. A lot of misinformation, coming out as well as facts coming out. Talk a little bit about
Yeah,
the
well, she was a
director of the
27-year
Secret
member
Service.
of the Secret Service, right? As a matter of fact, she was special agent in charge, I think, out of Atlanta field office. So she has a lot of experience in like these protective details because I'm pretty sure, like as an agent, that's one of your primary duties is protecting the president and protect these. So she knows exactly what she's doing. I'm positive, right? So and then I think she went to Pepsi and worked there for a little bit. Then got appointed as the director of the Secret Service. But I'm pretty sure she's pretty. She knows exactly what she's doing. I'm pretty sure.
So it wasn't just like
No,
some
no, no,
hack
no,
was put
no,
in
no,
there
no. I
because they
mean,
were friends with the Bidens. That's one of the things that's out there. That's why I wanted to get out the fact that
yeah,
she
she
had
she
been
was
in
she was
service
just,
before.
she was a Secret Service agent for 27 years, so she knows what she's doing. Best believe that. If she's in there for 27 years, she knows. Yep.
Yeah, you would think, yeah. Alright, what about, because now, um alright, we know for a fact that there is an extensive Secret Service detail
Right.
with Joe Biden. There's extensive Secret Service detail with Jill Biden as well, and now Donald Trump, and they beefed up his security, a week before this shooting happened, um, and now we're looking at. I'm assuming JD Vance will get Secret Service um, coverage, and I'm assuming. Well, we know that it's been ordered for Robert Kennedy Jr. as well. Um, is that gonna stretch the limits of the
Um,
personnel at the Secret Service? And and is it also tiered? Like, um, if you're a college football player and you're going into the draft, are you a round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4 talent? Or is Bobby Kennedy gonna get the bottom of the barrel? Or do they rank them? Does Biden or the sitting president, whoever it may be, get the absolute best? Do
right.
you know
So,
anything about
so, so
how
I
that's
don't know how it's
determined?
determined, but I do know if you're the president and vice president and the first families of the first family of the president and your vice president and that family, you're getting top tier service. I mean, they're not going to let nothing's going to happen to you, okay? Because something happens to you, man. That you thought what happened to Trump was bad, huh? That's a total disaster if something happens to anyone in the first family, the president or Kamala Harris
Mhm.
or her husband or any one of their family members. So they have security up the wazoo all the time. Um, as far as Trump and like Obama and the Bushes, they have their details as well. But I don't know how the extent or how extensive their security details are. You see, but now since Trump has got the nomination for from the RNC, right? Him and JD Vance. I do know that their security will be upgraded. I do know that much.
Okay. All right. Um, let's kind of transition to that. Uh, now that Trump has the nomination, um, I personally think we dodged as I've said on here before, we dodged a Fort Sumter moment that would have potentially put us into war with each other if Trump would have been assassinated instead of just shot at. Um, is this over?
It's just
Do you think?
started. They're gonna whoever did this is gonna bring it even more. Okay, so they're really
Okay.
gonna be gunning for Trump now. All right, they missed, and because the whole function, okay, get rid of this dude. We can't because, like I said, it's not just about the United States. It's a global thing. Okay, so whatever plans people had internationally, this dude can come in and screw them all up. You see, and they don't want that to occur.
Hmm.
So what's the best bet? Oh, we can't. Hey, we got these plans going on. If he comes in, we're screwed. Gotta get rid of him. You see?
Yeah. Let me make sure I got a text, so I want to make sure it's not somebody telling me that we're offline or something. All right, good. We're good. Um, so Trump
No,
is not out of
not not
danger.
not. He's
Um,
not even close to being out. He's in more danger than you could ever possibly imagine.
okay, and I feel the same way. And to me, um, the logical progression is that, well, then that means that there was some other they involved other than just this 20-year-old kid.
Yes, and you know one thing you can see all the confusion, right? So it's kind of saying that telling us that we're not gonna let you know what really happened, and they never will, right? They never will let you know what really happened. So they'll keep the confusion going, and you'll just be guessing. But that's how they want it, right?
Yeah. And pop it up real quick. Um, all right. We had some horrible stuff happen here in Indianapolis, Chris. Um, where is it? All right. All right, here. Hang on. Um, this isn't about Indianapolis. I'll cover that in a little bit, but I want to show you this. This is from the Daily Mail. Of course, that's a British paper. It's not in the mainstream here yet, but sources have confirmed encrypted accounts over hints at an Iranian plot as the FBI continues to investigate. Um, Representative Michael, and he said it on Jesse Walters' prime time um, late last night on Fox.
Right. But we had talked about that some
Um,
time ago. So that shouldn't even be.
what is
That's not even a
I
shocker.
mean, first of fact is this Miss 20-year-old has uh, three three encrypted accounts overseas.
You know?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mm.
I'm here. The I
All right, yeah. So
I think I'm here
yeah,
anyway.
I didn't hear what you
Yeah.
said about.
Oh,
I
we keep
didn't hear your last part.
all right. 20-year-old kid allegedly has um, three encrypted overseas accounts, um, according to this congressperson talking to Fox News. Again, this is one of the reasons where this is facts or misinformation tonight, because if this is fact, um, it could mean that what I said originally, the MAGA people um, tried to do this, and they were supposed to miss Trump um, by choosing a kid that wasn't a good shooter, and it instead of it almost worked. It almost went really really bad. The kid almost hit him. Um, it could also be that the Iranians did this. Um, the Chinese, the Russians, if there really is three encrypted accounts, um, that that is something that definitely speaks to conspiracy.
Well, I think I said this to you before. Like, if the like any foreign government reached out, or especially like the Iranian government, probably reached out to someone, it's not gonna. I don't think it'd be someone like him. But let me go into this a little bit further. All right.
Yeah,
They're normally gonna reach out to a Dana Jackal type dude, right? But then also, it's also possible that they picked him as well, right? I don't know if you ever read. You sure you read the book, the Art of War, right?
of course.
And it talks about spies in that book, right?
Hmm.
So it's just a lot of times they'll pick people that are um look dumb outwardly, right? Who don't look like they know what they're doing, look stupid, all this other stuff, but inwardly they know they're highly intelligent and know exactly what they're doing, stuff like that. So that when I see that kid, that kind of like goes along with what the book The Art of War says. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, you pick someone that
That
is
you would never
almost
think,
innocuous, almost
right,
someone you don't even never notice.
right.
Uh,
Someone like him, like they'd be like, nah, that wouldn't be him, but actually, just might be him. You see? But the other thing is, like I said, normally you need a Dan Jackal type dude to do something like that. And if that was a legitimate sniper, which he wasn't, we'll just call him a shooter because he's not a
mhm.
sniper. Because if that was a sniper, former President Trump would actually be dead.
Right,
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
right.
There's not going to be 7, 8 shots. It'll be one shot and he's done. Just it's that simple. So. And as far as the explosive stuff, I don't know if those were inert, you know. Um,
They haven't talked a lot about that. All they've said was there were explosives with an electronic cap in his vehicle, rigged to explode. They didn't know if he was going to use it as a diversion.
mhm.
Uh, he sure wasn't going to use it to escape. I
Right,
wouldn't
right,
think.
right. So how does a kid like that, know about bomb making?
And what does this kid's parents know? Because the report is that um, when they heard there was a shooting at the event, they called their local police in Bethel County,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania,
yeah, Bethel Park Police.
Bethel Park. Yeah, and um, reported their son missing.
Right, right. But um, to call, and say my son's missing, unless they had some information, right?
Yeah,
But to go back on the explosives, right? You would have to go out and detonate that stuff somewhere to make sure it actually
make
works,
sure you had the right stuff.
right? And I'm like, well, where's he going to go do that at? Because I mean, somebody somewhere would have it had to hurt it, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, you just you just have to take that into consideration, like the rehearsal phase. Remember, I talked to you guys about the seven-step terrace playing cycle, the rehearsal phase. You have to go out and actually, practice that stuff, make sure it actually works. And
And
and then,
allegedly he did. Allegedly, he visited the site 3 days
right,
before and walked the
right,
whole site,
right,
and which, soon as I heard that, I was just like, "That's exactly what Chris has been saying they
yep,
do."
yep, and that's no one caught that, right? Um, but that's what they do before an attack. So, and then like I said the whole rehearsal phase, him going to the gun range, right, and practicing, right, that all goes into the rehearsal phase. So these are things that people need to be aware of, and I'm surprised. I wonder what the targets look like which he was shooting at. Okay, because that plays a big role into what he was doing. Did he have targets? Targets of heads. You know,
Mhm.
or they reduced targets of heads. Like what was he shooting at? Because that's something that needs to come into play.
And what you do at a range is also sight in.
Right. I mean,
Talk about that a little bit,
okay.
because
So
there are gonna be people listening to this, that aren't gun people, that don't understand. You go to a range and you sight. If you have a scope,
right.
that's
So if
talk
you want
about
to, right. So if you want to like zero your rifle, right? Like for us, we zero our rifles at 100 yards. Okay. So that's what we call 100 yard zero. We do like a five group, a 5 round group, right? And for us, it's like it's a little box that we call minute of angle, right? And all 5 rounds have to be inside that little box, right? So we know that our weapon is completely zeroed, right? And we'll do it again, which we call as confirming of the zero, right? And once,
and you have to do that because each weapon is different. Some weapons might shoot just a touch high or to
right,
the right or to the left, and you're talking about zeroing in the scope so that when you put the crosshairs at 100 yards, you know the bullet's going to go right there.
exactly. That's exactly where you want your bullet. So the only thing that's going to change that, if your breathing's off, trigger squeeze, things of that nature. So I believe
Wind gust,
that, well, not so much wind gun,
not at 100 yards,
not
you're
100
right,
yards,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So, but my thing is, okay, he was rushed when he was shooting, so that means probably his breathing's off, his trigger pull could have been off, right? So those are factors when it comes, into shooting, his breathing and trigger squeeze. You know, he could have jerked the trigger, and then the way he was shooting, if you're doing precision shooting, uh, it's only 100. I mean, it's only 133 yards, but you doing shooting like that, your breathing has to be right on, and your trigger pull has to be right on. Eye relief has to be, perfect. There can't be any shadows. Well, I think he was using like an EOTech or an aim point, one of the two. But anyway, that's a red dot sight, and all you really do is put that red dot on the target, and squeeze the trigger. It's not even difficult, but the breathing, the fundamentals of and the basic marksmanship, uh, basic rifle marksmanship still apply. All those techniques still apply.
We touched on the fact um, that the kid also had a bomb. Um, and off air, for those that don't know, Chris is a great friend. He is such an amazing person. We talk quite a bit. Um, we talked off air about this, and I I mentioned at the start, asking if you thought Trump was was out of danger. Um, And when I said, "Okay, what comes next. If if they missed him, if there is a they and they missed him this time and they want him removed, let's say it's a globalist organization that wants America to go be part of a global thing, and they don't think Trump will go along with it. I don't know as I necessarily agree with that, but just for the sake of saying, and they want him removed. Um, are I think we both agree that bombs are
Right,
going to
right, right. I mean, they could use a V bid like Timothy McVeigh did, right, on Oklahoma City bombing, right?
yeah,
Something like that.
they could blow up the entire Mar-a-Lago area, I'm guessing.
Well, so here's the thing, right? The Secret Service is the Secret Service is pretty squared away when it comes to that, right? So we talked about um, anomalies and baselines,
Right,
baselines and anomalies, right?
right.
So they're pretty much going to be able to spot out the anomalies to the baselines and be like, all right, look, this is a problem. We need like let's handle it, you know. But the
S-
other thing is, if Trump were to go to another location like he was up in Butler, another small town, um, and you know the
Fly
person,
into a small regional airport and
right?
they blow the plane up.
Well, I mean, they could, but it's more or less on the ground,
Okay.
okay? When
I meant once it's on the ground,
yeah, yeah,
they drive a
they got the motorcade and it's going to the location. But like I said in DC, and like when on that route, you know, we're there at the intersection, so the cut and pull traffic. But like I don't know what these people do here, but or at any location. But I know what we do in DC. But if a vehicle were to breach, a certain point. And I don't know if it'd be kind of hard to hit the motorcade because that motorcade, the presidential motorcade,
it can
you know,
speed.
they can speed. But here's the thing: I don't know what type of what level armor is on that vehicle, but I do know like ambassadors, like because when I'm overseas, like they let us see like the types of vehicles the ambassadors ride in, and so and the level of armor on those vehicles is actually pretty high. So like of course it's hard to penetrate one of the windows because they're all bulletproof.
Mhm.
But then also, if they get hit with a V bid or or an IED, it's going to do some damage. But I don't know how much damage it's going to cause. But I
Okay.
think the presidential vehicles are substantially 10 times more durable and more protected than maybe the ambassadors is. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Does Trump have the same kind of vehicle that the president has?
Uh, I'm not sure. I can't.
I'm assuming he does, but
Yeah, I can't really say
okay.
because I really don't know.
Okay. All right. So if Trump is at Bedminster Golf Course, at Trump Tower, at Mar-a-Lago, those agents in those areas are going to be um, very aware of any anomalies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's and when he's in the motorcade, he's going to be relatively secure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's going to be when he is visiting, if he comes to a smaller town, or I mean Butler, Pennsylvania, for
Right.
example.
Right.
He goes
Right.
someplace like that. That
Well,
is the most vulnerable
right.
time.
Right. Where the police aren't, they don't have that knowledge
Right.
because they don't do it all the time.
Right.
So that's where the danger really comes in. You know, for the president now. Like I said, even when you go to these bigger cities, you know, the police departments there, they don't do that stuff all the time either.
Right.
So they're the president, the former Trump's at a disadvantage when he goes to these places. So it's really a matter of experience and doing it all the time.
Okay. I want to pop this up real quick. Um, Kamala Harris is going to be in Indianapolis this coming week. You mentioned smaller cities. Um, Indianapolis, I think it's like the 19th or 20th um, sized city in the nation, but um, I don't know how much experience they have. I know they've got having Mike didn't come back to Indiana. He was vice president a whole lot. Um,
Yeah,
Kamala's
yeah.
going to be in Indianapolis, and JD Vance is going to be in Fort Wayne, both coming up next week. So let's just go ahead and roll through some of this here, Chris. This comes out today from Newsweek. Former president delivered his speech at the RNC last night in Milwaukee, and one of his endorsed Trump after the convention ended Thursday night, and he said, "I'm not a Republican, and I don't care that much, and I'm not. Um, I don't even really care. I'm not an enthusiast. I'm not leaving my vote. Vote for what? Uh, for this, lending my credibility to this. Um, he represents a pretty sizable civil thing, and others in should be a party. Um, I think it's pretty fractured, and get from the Donald Trump us. I'm telling you the truth about this one.
You there, Bear?
So one thing we know he's being honest about. He's trying to buy the vote, and
Yeah.
Elon is helping him with $45 million a month. All right, there was a computer outage today that that led to all kinds of disruptions, including. Hang on a second. All right, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry for breaking up. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm running on Restream instead of StreamYard because I'm out of time on StreamYard. I apologize if it gets jerky or shaky when we're showing the videos. Um, but Milwaukee Airport this morning, everybody was trying to get out of the convention up there. Um, After last night, that if you've never been to a political convention, it's the airport on the morning after the convention is freaking bananas. And in Milwaukee, as well as many other airports um, around the country, it was just there was there was no going anywhere. And here's what happened up in Milwaukee. This came in from Scootercaster about 10 minutes before I went on the air, Chris.
This is the tyranny that President Trump is fighting against. Federal officers who got through to single passenger. This is the tyranny that President Trump is fighting against. Shame on you all. Shame on you all. No, they know.
So not sure what happened, but the guy said that whatever happened to him is the tyranny that Donald Trump is fighting against. Joe Biden's in his own fight, Chris. We've been talking about this off air too. The latest is, and I know Sherrod Brown, now senator from Ohio. Over the last few weeks, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is, I think the president should end his campaign. So, Sherrod Brown, just the latest to come out. Um, what are you hearing about that out there, Chris?
About Sherrod
Are
Brown?
not Sherrod Brown, about Biden and
Oh, you
about
know, about him stepping down?
yeah,
I mean, I heard that he was supposed to step down tomorrow or Sunday or
okay.
something like that. That's just word of mouth, and I don't believe any of that stuff.
Are you hearing anything from anybody as if are they totally against Biden being replaced? Are they for it? Are the does
From what I've heard, a lot of people are happy. He's going to step down for the simple fact, like he can't beat Trump. I don't think honestly, I don't think anyone can beat Trump. I don't care who they put in. You see, it doesn't make a difference. The Democratic Party is going to lose flat out.
and I think a lot of the leaders in the Democratic Party are aware that that is a really distinct possibility, and they don't want to lose the House and Senate by such a margin that basically the entire government is under Trump's control.
Right, right, right.
And if Joe, I mean, obviously, senators and congressmen are getting pressure from their constituents and their donors that Biden can't do this for 4 more years. We take away people's driver's license when it's time to not drive anymore, and it's not that we hate Joe Biden or anybody hates Joe Biden or anything like that. I don't think. I mean, of course, there are MAGA, et cetera, that hate Joe Biden, but they don't. They're not going to ever be voting for him. It's just everybody that's not MAGA, from the Republicans that aren't MAGA, the independents, the conservative centrist Democrats, and even, finally the liberals are starting to understand that, this is about more than just Joe Biden. I
Right.
think Joe Biden's the only one that doesn't understand that yet. Also at the convention, a very awkward moment as Donald Trump just completely turns away and ignores his daughter Tiffany. Oh, I'm glad I said that. I don't have my sheet with me. Um, Chris, this is I've got to take us up to semi full screen here for just a second. I have got, yeah, as far as is this fact or is this misinformation? I was given something that just I'd never even considered. Um, and it just blew me away when I got the message. Um, the message was, don't be surprised if if at some point in time it's not leaked that Barron Trump is not Don's kid, it's somebody else's kid. And that's why he was screwing with Stormy Daniels. Uh, he's Melania's son, but not Don's. And again, this comes from a Republican who said, "Don't be surprised if you don't
Mm.
hear this leaked." Um, so I don't know if it's part of a smear campaign. Like you said, if there are those that want him out of there, they're going to do
Yeah.
everything they can to get him out of there, no matter. So, but I mean, that's not going to get him out of there, even if that were to be true. Uh, but if you saw the picture last night, Melania blew him off just as bad as he just blew off his daughter Tiffany. Melania, Trump went in for a kiss, and Melania you know, gave him the right ear. I just now thought of that. Uh, yeah, and I had to go back and watch the thing for, for the show. But last night it was like, I knew I was going to have to watch a giant windbag for an hour and a half, so I went to the movie Twisters, and watched the production version instead of the Trump version, and then I had to catch it today. So again, that it wouldn't surprise me, and it kind of justifies the whole Stormy Daniels thing. But let me know if you hear that. And I hadn't talked to Chris about this. This is new to Chris because it just came in not long ago from a Republican buddy. And it wasn't Mike Pence. I'm not saying that they don't have connections, but um, all right. AOC spills the beans on what's going on behind closed doors. Chris, um, she is about to confirm everything I've been saying for the past 7 months here. Um, she's saying people aren't going to be honest. I will be. I am in these rooms. I see what they say in conversations. A huge amount of the donor class and elites and folks in these rooms I see are also not interested in seeing the vice president be the nominee. We've been talking about that. To be they don't want Harris to be president. They want to get rid of the whole ticket. They aren't just interested in removing the president. They're interested in removing the whole ticket. Will this happen? I can't tell you that. Anyone who can tell you they know 100% what will happen, they're lying to you or engaged in an enormous amount of hubris. And I've never said that. I've never said I know what's going to happen. All I've ever told everybody about both situations, because I said, don't be surprised if one or both of these people are not on the
Nope.
ballot in November. And AOC is not saying, she's not saying, stop the nonsense, quit talking about it because Biden is going to be the nominee. She's not saying that. She's saying here's what she's hearing behind closed doors is they're going to get rid of both of them. Here's another. Zoe Lofgren wrote a letter yesterday to Biden. The same thing, you were a much better president than anybody ever anticipated you would be, and you've done a great job, and now it's time to pass the torch, kind of thing. Her last line is, I will do everything I can to promote your candidacy and to work for your success. If you do decide to stay in, unfortunately, I greatly doubt the outcome will be positive, and our country will pay a dreadful price for that. And you will be known as the president who ended democracy. I mentioned I had a cartoon from that kind of shows what the rest of the world is thinking of us. Here we go,
Being
Chris.
checked. Which building? The only building in front of the stage. Ah, that building. Maybe. Maybe not. How maybe not? You think it's necessary? I see a guy moving on the roof. Ah, the usual guys. Boss is very suspicious. Might be doing a parkour. He's lying down flat on his stomach. He's probably resting after doing parkour. He's looking towards Trump. Maybe the Trump fan tried to get a better view of him. Okay, he's pulled out a rifle. A rifle. Definitely a rifle. Can you tell if it's a real rifle? How I know if it's real? Maybe it's fake and we are worrying for nothing. It's a real rifle. Very strange. Boss, awaiting your orders. Do you see any clay pigeon shooting devices? I don't think he's practicing shooting clay pigeons. We need to be sure, Frank. Boss, now he's aiming towards Trump. Can you see his expression? What expression? His facial expression. He seems to be mad. I don't know, boss. Or is he looking at him admirably? I can't tell. Maybe it's just using the rifle scope to get a better look. Boss, if we don't act now, he will shoot him. Stay calm, Frank. I don't think. He's shooting, boss. Holy cow. He's still shooting. What do I do? Are you sure you don't see any clay pigeons around? No clay pigeons. All right, in that case, fire a warning shot immediately. We couldn't have known, Frank. We did everything we could. Some things are just unpredictable. An attack on a presidential candidate and a guy shooting. This is not the US I know. Being checked, which...
Oh, so Yeah, that's what at least one other country thinks about what happened. Um,
Yeah.
Fubar,
Yeah.
Fubar. I mentioned earlier a couple of tragic things happened in Indianapolis. This goes on all around the country now. There is, and again, a content warning. This is graphic content. If you're under 18, if you're not an adult, you do not want to see this. Oh,
Be surprised when you're
hang on. Oh, jeez. Let me get the volume down on this. Um, this happened Tuesday in Indianapolis, Indiana. Normally you wouldn't think. I mean, Indianapolis is the kind of city you don't think stuff like this happens in. Um, I'll just show it. It'll show a couple of times here. Road rage incident. Um, road rage incident. MAGA guy jumps out of his car with a gun, comes up to the truck, smacks the truck, holding the gun, threatens the guy, and the guy pulls his own gun out and shoots him 3 times in the face. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, Chris, because there's so much hatred, there's so much anger
Listen,
in our
listen, listen,
country, and people are just
listen,
looking for
listen,
any
listen.
reason
You
to.
have to be some. You gotta be a special kind of stupid to walk up on someone you don't know what someone has. Okay, and even though you have a gun, they might have a gun too, and you might be doing just to stay on. Yeah,
Obviously, this
right.
time they
And
did.
it's just one of those F
Yeah,
around and find out moments. You know what I'm saying? Um, and dude obviously found out, and that's a justifiable shooting. That's self defense. So that dude got away scot free,
yeah.
and rightfully so. But if I mean you're just stupid and come up to someone with a gun, then you get what you get. You don't know him, because you're angry. And see that, and that's all that emotional stuff. You see, well, I'm angry. I'm gonna come out and do X, Y, and Z. Well, now you get home. Now you get sent home in a body bag. You know what I'm saying? Body bag time. So you're just stupid.
Yeah.
But that's on you. But that's how people are. You're just dumb for no reason. So good for him. That's what he gets.
Now the guy that shot the video was 2 cars back, named Ron Gee. I got to meet Ron once. He is an anti-gun anti-gun violence advocate. I'm sorry. He was shot Wednesday in at a gas station in Indianapolis on Arlington Avenue. Um, and it's so odd. He films this video of the violence he's trying to um, curtail, and then the
And that's
next day he's
unfortunate.
a victim of it. So, yeah, I wanted to shout out anybody that happens to be from around this area that happens to catch this that knew Ron. Um, True probably knows Ron. There's some others that might know who Ron is
Mm,
and
mm.
what he was trying to do for the community. Um, Newsweek says Donald Trump's chances of winning the election slump after the RNC speech. Um, Normally, you get an election, you get a convention bounce, but this was a really weird convention, Chris. They tried to, they tried to be anti-gay, anti-transphobic, and then they have two speakers. Okay, this is what happened Monday night. They have two speakers come up that are anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ, whatever, all of the letters, and I mean no offense by not rattling them all off. You know who I'm talking about. You know the demographics we're discussing here. And then Amber Rose, who is a internet porn star um, comes on and says, um, "This is the party. I found a home in this party because they love gays," and everybody that the two speakers before just trashed. And then we find out, well, she's under investigation um, for something. Amber Rose is under investigation for something. So that's why she's trying to get close to Trump in case he's elected. I'm sure the deal was worked out that, I'll if you appear at the convention, we'll, if you get in trouble, you get anyway. That was Monday night. That was the first night. And then last night, uh, the Hulk Hogan thing, that's going to appeal for a week or two to to the wrestling crowd, if you will. Um, but the wrestling crowd is not one. They're not a major political crowd, and they'll forget about it very quickly, and it'll be on to um, does Liv Morgan retain the women's title? Um, to independents, to traditional Republicans, to people that the Republicans need to win. Um, you said you didn't think Trump, you didn't think anybody could beat Trump. Um, I disagree with it because while he has a very loyal, a very vocal, a very enthusiastic, and a somewhat cultish um, following, when you actually look at the numbers, it's an incredibly small percentage of the total United States. Now, with Elon Musk coming out and getting on the Trump bandwagon, with Mark Zuckerberg um, perpetuating the propaganda that he was shot in the face, which obviously we're looking right here, you can tell he was not shot in the face, but that that when you hear somebody shot in the face, that
Right.
puts an image in your head. And Zuckerberg shouldn't be doing all this kind of stuff, but they are the ultra rich are going to unite behind this guy because he's going to give them the benefits of what he's going to do to the economy with everybody else. Um, Again, AOC arguing that the elites are pushing for both Biden and Harris from the ballot. Little bit of humor
Yeah.
here. All right. Hold on just a second. We got to have a little bit of humor. I think you'll like this one, Chris. I'm sorry. A little bit of humor there, or at least I found it amusing. Um, George Conway has taken on the responsibility of shedding light on the truth about Donald Trump's cognitive abilities and narcissistic tendencies. He has Conway, a Republican lawyer, has started his own political action committee, his own PAC, and it's called the Psycho PAC. And he's donated $343,343.34 for the 34 felonies Trump has. And the whole purpose of the PAC is to just constantly remind people um, of Donald Trump's current mental state, since it has gotten overlooked compared to what has happened to Biden. Once Biden is out of there, the narrative totally flips, and it becomes whoever the Democrat candidate is they're the youth, and Trump becomes the old guy in the yard screaming at the kids, get out of my yard. Um, and they start focusing on his mental acuity or lack thereof, including this one. I can't understand
Trump
why he
slurring
keeps
words.
doing this, but
Really anonymous.
And then they announced there was no buys, no.
A beautiful criminal United States.
And rambling nonsensically about sharks and electrocution.
You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time.
Hannibal Lecter.
The late great Hannibal Lecter.
okay, the late great Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter's a movie character, a literary character from a book originally, and isn't even a real person. Um, does that show a mental decline that he keeps referring to this guy as a great friend, the late great Hannibal Lecter, who was a cannibal
I,
serial killer from
I,
Silence of the
I don't know.
Lambs?
I don't know if he's playing around or who knows. You know, I can't call that one, Barry. I really can't. I,
Okay, and again, I think most of the computer stuff was fixed, but it was a pretty
I,
big deal, Chris. Um, I don't think you guys fully grasp how big this is. Around 1 billion computers were uh, they all had this exact same message, um, and 1 billion computers worldwide, and this isn't an online service going down for a few hours. Every affected computer needs to be rebooted and have a driver manually removed. So this sounds like I know you're old enough to remember Y2K and how
yeah,
at
yeah,
midnight
yeah,
all the
yeah. In
computers were going to
2000,
go. Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think this is like Y2K for real. Uh, woke up today and banking wasn't happening. Hospitals. Um, Credit card companies. Nothing was working, and I think it's a good reminder of how fragile um, our system and the way we operate really is, and how dependent we are on technology.
That's for
Um,
sure.
USA Singers says I did not have Kimberly Guilfoyle scratching her balls on national television on my 2024 bingo card, but here's indeed what happened on Wednesday night, right behind Donald Trump. Oh, and meanwhile at the Microsoft headquarters, this is how they're trying to fix the computers around the world. All right. Well, we've been going here for a while, Chris. Let me hop over to the chat and see if anybody has any questions for us or anything. Um, Fred Fred says Joe Biden wants to say that everybody be all over that. Um, Echo Romeo, people are waking up and starting to realize the left and leftists ran media has been lying to them for years. Um, I think I I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, Echo, but yes, I think that the um, the White House has covered up the deterioration of Joe Biden as best they could, and I think the media has probably tried to assist in that out of respect for the office because they've always tried to do that, and I think a lot of the liberals and the far left um, haven't seen or they've been blind to seeing the deterioration that the rest of us that look at it objectively uh, do see. Um, Shalom, True. Thank you for being here. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Happy Trump's still alive. Shitstorm avoided. Amen, brother. Amen to that. Chris, what kind of shitstorm would it have been if Trump would have been taken out?
Oh, it would have been just really bad. That we talked about the Fort Sumter moment, but um, I, for some unknown reason, I mean, yeah, I think our country. I mean, it's divided now, but that would have been the catalyst. I guess the Fort Sumter moment for the right, or at least for the MAGA crew to really act up. And from
Yeah,
my understanding, it's a lot of people aren't even aware of like what's going on. I was talking with my buddies, and he said he was at a restaurant bar type deal, and you know he saw the stuff that was going on with Trump, and they said they tried to attempted to kill Trump, and people at the bar are like, yeah, okay, who cares? I'm like, are you serious?
there are a lot of people want him dead,
No, but the thing was,
not
like,
realizing the consequences.
yeah,
Yeah,
do you not realize, like, if he was assassinated, do you realize the blowback, or what's coming behind that? You see, and
right.
people are like, they're like, oh, okay, oh yeah, okay, like
Because
most
as
people.
long
Yeah.
as we haven't had that moment, as long as conflict hasn't started, there will always be hope that it will be avoided. But once it starts, Chris, I just don't think I don't I don't think it's going to be quick. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be
Oh,
anything anybody
oh.
wants.
And you just showed me that, you just showed everyone the video of that guy coming up to the car with a gun, right? There's going to be a lot more of that.
Yes. Yes,
You
there will.
see?
Yeah.
I mean, you just people are like have their heads up their asses, and not even paying attention to what's going on. So,
Yeah.
I'm,
And a
I'm
lot of people are in bubbles and they don't want to know what's going on because they know their vision of how their life is going to get shattered, and
right.
they don't want to have to deal with that, and won't deal with it, and those will be incredibly dangerous people to themselves if anything does ever happen. Um,
Exactly.
Nancy McMonarch says, too bad if they don't want Kamala. They've created a situation where if Biden drops out, Democratic candidate will not be chosen by the voters. That's unforgivable. Um, I have had people address me with that as well. That, so you mean to tell me that my primary vote for Joe Biden is now just going to be tossed away? Um, and if that does indeed become the case, you got to remember that before the primary process started, the Democrats said, do not run against Joe Biden. There were no viable candidates. So the 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 people that normally vote Democrat didn't have a choice, really. And now here's how I'm hearing it's going to play out. Okay, I'm hearing that Joe is going to get out probably tomorrow, probably Sunday. That gives almost 4 entire weeks until the Democratic convention.
Right.
Joe will release all of his delegates to allow them to commit to other candidates. There will be a handful of candidates, um, uh, more than people realize if they do this, um, because Kamala will remain vice president. Joe will remain president throughout the remainder of the term. But this is not going to guarantee Kamala Harris as the nominee. Um, some names you're going to hear for president or vice president. Of course, you're going to hear Kamala Harris. You're going to hear Michelle Obama. You're going to hear Gavin Newsom. You're going to hear Gretchen Whitmer. You're going to hear Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky, Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, swing states. Pete Buttigieg, you're going to hear that um, for president and vice president, because again, it's and what Nancy says, they'll have hell to pay in November. Um, what they're going to do is they're going to tell you here are at the convention they will tell the delegates they'll make it seem like it's democratic. um, Probably on Monday they'll say, Monday, here's the process. If you want to be considered, contact the Democratic National Committee. We'll tell you if you're allowed to be a candidate or not, and they will decide who the candidates will be. They will say, if you're a Democrat, contact uh, your delegates that are going to the convention and let them know what your choice is. Like, you know, pandering, because it will all be prearranged. The outcome will be known before votes are ever cast. I'm just saying that. I'm just telling you that's the way it works. As far as being, are you going to be so? And this is what the Democrats are counting on. Are you going to be so upset that Biden and Harris have been replaced that you're going to vote for Trump, or you're going to not vote? Especially in normally blue states. Um, so that's what they're counting on. They're counting on they can do this and they can get away with it at this point in time, because the alternative would be Trump, and that's why they're getting rid of Biden in the first place.
Right, right, right. But like I said, I really don't think anyone's going to beat Trump. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, um,
it doesn't look like it at the moment from the polls, because
no,
in the swing states he's leading by 5 to 7 points in the majority of the swing states,
right,
and but um, the middle is who will decide this election. The center will
hmm
decide this election. The far right Democrats, they'll fall in line, or the far left Democrats will fall in line, because they can't imagine Trump. The Trumpers are in line. They're going to stay in line unless something happens to him, and then all of this is out the window. Um, and it's going to be the middle. It's going to be those that are undecided. It's going to be people like me that I voted for. I voted for Nikki Harris. Okay, um,
hmm
in the primary here in Indiana. So um, people that aren't in depth in politics are gonna misread a lot of things, and they're also going to be surprised at a lot of things, because a lot of things will get done. Unfortunately, a lot of things will get done behind closed doors, and it will the appearance of an attempt at democracy. And I'm only saying this because I've been there. I've seen it happen. I saw it happen to Bernie Sanders. I saw them take the nomination from Bernie and give it to Hillary. I saw them take the nomination from Bernie and give it to freaking Joe Biden. Um, I'm just telling you, the Democratic Party, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is my prediction. They will, as long as Joe is alive, um, they will finish out this term. But neither one of them is going to be on the ticket, despite what Biden's campaign's telling everybody, that he's not getting out, he's not getting out, he's not getting out. Um, if if he doesn't get out, they'll get him out, and it'll get really messy. But they'll do what they have to do in their eyes. Yeah.
Hmm. All right.
All right. Thank you, brother. I greatly appreciate you being on here each and every time. And of course, we talk throughout the week. Uh, I thought this was a good show tonight.
Yeah, for sure it was.
I think I hope people recommend it because, especially, the first half of the show, we addressed a lot of things that are getting either brushed over or whitewashed as far as what happened with um, the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. So
Right.
thank you for being here, man.
I thank you for having me on your show,
We'll do it
Barry.
again next.
Thank-
Always a
Well,
pleasure.
for sure.
And
For sure.
if there's something happens tomorrow, we weren't anticipating a shooting last Saturday. Who knows what could happen? If Biden does indeed formally drop out and you want to hop back on with me, you're more than welcome as always.
Sounds good.
Otherwise, we'll see you next Friday.
Sounds good. That's
All
about
right.
right.
All right. Have a good weekend, man.
Okay, you take care.
Thank you. And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And please like, subscribe, and share if you found the video worthy tonight. And we will be back Monday night, if not before. Probably be on before. So that's why you need to subscribe and hit the notification so you'll know when we're on. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Blessings be upon each and every one of you. May God bless each and every one of you that so desire those blessings. May God have mercy on the United States of America. And may you have a wonderful weekend and peace. It's a dark world.